There we go, everyone. We hope that we are not frozen. We might be here and there because I know New England's having some inclement weather, or I'm in a different time zone, so we don't know whether there's some issue going on there. But good morning, everyone. It is Friday. We know what that means with Two Sisters, right? It is Fantabulous Friday, and we are excited to chat what's going on. So good morning, everyone. This is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, live with Two
Sisters. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, bundled up here, 25 degrees. Yes, we had we have a storm, some severe weather moving through. Right now we have sleet, and I am directly below one of the skylights. Excuse me. So you probably hear some of the pitter patter of the sleet hitting the skylight. Lots going on. Obviously, we weren't really on this week. I was on Wednesday with our guest, and she was amazing, by the way. And, you know, I was traveling, and then Carol Sue was traveling. And so let's all get caught up here. So I don't even know where to begin, but.
Well, first off, what did you get did you get a lot of snow? I know you got some sleet going on right now. Did you get a lot of snow?
Excuse me, we got, it's hard to tell, but if I had to guess, I would say anywhere from 3 to 5, maybe 6 inches, but I think definitely on the lower side. It's obviously the sleet right now because everything is freezing. I mean, normally at this time of the hour, this time of the day, you hear all the traffic around us. We don't hear anything, and you can see that the roadway hasn't even been touched yet. It's all aglaze.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're kind of monitoring what's going on with that. You know, making sure, obviously, if we do lose power, we have a generator. So excuse me, we're covered with that. So I just want to start off by saying I was in Philly, and I just want to share with everyone because I think a lot of people know my son's story. I was in Philly visiting him and took him for his appointment with the surgeon, and he has an upcoming surgery in March. So this is good news. It means we're moving forward, and that surgery is to replace the left part of his skull because he doesn't have one. He did find out, and he asked the doctor again, you know, what are they going to do? You know, I want my skull back that you took out. And he said, well, after a certain amount of time, excuse me, the hospital, under whatever protocols or regulations, they have to get rid of it. So unfortunately, he's not able to get his skull back. He was a little bummed about that, but we are excited in the sense that this will kind of, not that it's going to be closure, but it certainly will bring closure to the medical aspect of what is going on so that he can move forward. And I am blessed and grateful. So that's what I was doing.
That's amazing news. And we're, you know, obviously praying and good wishes to Ryan and his upcoming surgery. And you're right, it doesn't put closure on it because obviously you're dealing with why he fainted and or had a seizure. And, you know, as we've been chatting about, and actually really probably what's been trending nonstop is people having different reactions that could in fact be connected to something else. And when you don't have a definite answer, sometimes that kind of gloom and doom, like just kind of weighs over your head as to, you know, you want the answers. And sadly, the medical profession has to be very ginger in their responses of their opinion versus science versus fact. But we now, like in our family alone, can, you know, and you know, obviously, my dear best friend from grammar school, we know too many people that have had maybe situations, things medically that are occurring that are unusual. That there's no known history for that person. And it does make you question, it does make you wonder. And of course, the latest news that's come out with one of the arm juices, that the protein may be directly linked to some identically linked to some of their other products. And it does make you wonder. It just, it seems like you go down one rabbit hole and new alerts or new information comes out. And I think part of the frustration for a lot of people when you're trying to, live your best version of yourself, live your best life, you keep getting alerts that kind of just suck you back into that place of unknown where you're not going to get direct answers. You probably, there's a reason why, whether it's, I believe, either the FDA or the CDC, one of the two, I believe it's the FDA, is not going to release a lot of information regarding some of these things for, I guess there's some legality on the table for like 75 plus years. And that may be off of 10 years here and there. But the point being that when you hear that piece to it, right, you question if this is something that so many people are for, and we've never seen a government get involved with something like this. And if it was that beneficial, why do we have to wait 75 or whatever the actual years to find out really all the ins and outs of what is going on? And that kind of gets you you scratch on your head, because you feel like if you're really proud of something that you would hope that corporations are very proud of what they put out, stand by their product, assure people of its authenticity and efficiency of what it's supposed to do. And if they're not really backing it, so this kind of says, well, we don't really back our product. We're not going to let you know. You're not going to know for another, X amount of years. And the other interesting, obviously, thing that has come out, which is been all over the internet, all over social media, is a recording from one of the main, I would say probably a big time player in the FDA, that is basically saying, we get paid a lot of money, not only by pharmaceutical companies, but by food companies, by a different gamut of companies, to make sure that we're putting out the information basically that they want out for the public to hear. That's alarming, it's unnerving, and it really just goes to show you that in our particular country, and I'm not speaking about any other country, in our particular country, for as free as it is, are we really free? When we're so much of information is purposely and with purpose and passion, it's not being, it's not transparent. We don't really know. And I think for a lot of people, it's hard to kind of get back into the swing of living your best life, trying to go put your best foot forward, keeping your health and wellness in mind when you keep getting things like this occurring. It doesn't give you a lot of confidence. So it kind of makes you feel like, what's going on there?
Well, yeah, it just goes back to, obviously there's a lot in the news. There's a lot of news this week, regardless, which we'll get to in a moment. But, obviously with the mask mandates, and I'm just like shaking my head, because I always go back to what they were first preaching, let's follow the science. Okay, well, if we're following the science, why at this point? We have to live with the flu going around. We have to live with so many different things. Like, let's get our lives back to normal if we're following the science. Like, again, and I just want to state, I know a lot of people, excuse me, are hooked to their masks, and I totally respect that. Not that I agree with it, but that's your choice. And that's what's so flippin' amazing about the good old US of A. Don't understand why you would wear it by yourself in your car. Again, that's your choice. But if you are in the store and you're wearing a mask and you're using your hands, obviously, to pick things up, maybe read a label, maybe pick out your vegetables. For instance, when I, look at my apples, I like to individually buy them. I'm looking at them. I'm like, okay, this one looks good, and I put it in my bag. I don't know who's touched that beforehand. I don't know
Very
who's
true.
Cash register before me. So to me, for me, looking at people doing that, all I'm saying from my perspective is it doesn't make sense. Respect your right.
No, it doesn't. And I think that adds I think that's the piece, though. And you're right. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's not common sense. It's frustrating people.
Right. And again, that's your choice. And I respect that. I'm just saying, from my perspective, does not make sense whatsoever. I will say that when I was in Philly, I had to gas. They're very mask mandate oriented down in Philly. And so if I need to go into a certain place, I get it. I follow the rules. But for whatever reason, I didn't have a mask on me. I went to go in to pay for my gas, and the lady was very, very nice. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we have this mandate." I said, she said, "You can go to the window outside." I said, "No problem." And she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I see that you're from out of town." I'm like, "No worries. It's okay. I get it. I have like 10 masks in my car just for that purpose, but I didn't have one on me." Going into, for instance, Wawa down there, had to stop at Wawa to get my coffee. It's like Cumberland Farms. Love Wawa. They had a mask mandate sign. Now I had signed, so I had already walked a block, and I'm like, well, I'm certainly not walking back to my car. I just walked in and got my coffee. The next day I'm like, oh, okay, I got to make sure I have my mask, so I was getting into the flow of it. But then, of course, my glasses fog up and I can't see where I'm walking. I almost walked into a couple people. So I had to put it down, and I guess it was the guard or whatever. She walks around and she kind of looked at me and she smiled. And I said, "I can't see." She's like, "Don't worry about it." So they're lightening up yet. I get it. Like, I understand it. I get it. Not that I agree with it, but I get it. And,
that's why one of us is a rule breaker and one of us is a rule follower. I'm not complying anymore. I'm done with that. Obviously, the only exception, and it's a big exception, is obviously if I'm traveling, I have to wear it on the plane. But they, again, you're allowed to pull the mask down to, have a drink, coffee, water. They give out the little snacks. So apparently, COVID, the virus, the air, all of a sudden clears up for those few moments that you're allowed to take the mask down. And then all of a sudden it must reappear again when you're done eating, because oops, the mask has got to go back up. So again, common sense, it's stupid, it doesn't work. Social distancing, a lot of people don't realize, but because we investigate and we go down those rabbit holes, that the 6 feet social distancing was a random made up number. And there's a lot of facts behind that. They didn't know whether to do 9 feet, 6 feet, 3 feet. So it's kind of like, let's roll the dice. 6 feet makes no sense again. And you actually, I crack up. What I do crack up about is you're still hearing a lot of, depending on what story you're going into, you'll still hear those same recordings from when people were in their cray-cray phase, where they were Lysoling everything, including their kids. We have video of that as well. Which again, does that make sense to use a spray chemical, an aerosol, and spray it on your kids? No, it doesn't. It's actually, I would consider that child abuse. But again, different strokes, different folks. But I will not comply. I do not condone wearing masks. I respect that a person has that choice. And it has nothing to do with about being anti anything. I'm anti-mandate because I think most people are responsible enough that they can make educated decisions regarding their health and their wellness. And I think the really thing about this whole pandemic, and I even hate using that word because we have not been in a pandemic for 9 months from all the information I've read, is the fact that they don't talk about therapeutics. They want to push a vaccine passport, but are they going to put a scale outside of Burger King to weigh the person and or check their BMI? Why are we not talking about therapeutics? We're talking about pushing something that's not even what it's supposed to be, yet we're not talking about getting to a healthy weight, gut health, preventative measures if you were to succumb to this and did end up getting the virus. There's great remedies out there, good old fashioned, going back to the roots of, plants, vitamins, supplements that are going to help your body recover quicker. But you don't want to, start the moment you get it. You should be practicing these preventative measures for everything, because it's not just about keeping the virus away and or at bay, You may end up getting it. Chances are a lot of people have gotten it, don't even realize they have it. But the other key piece to that is and I think we can say this differently because of our age, when you go from decade to decade, you understand that longevity and being the best version of yourself depends on what you do daily, not just on the spur of the moment for a short period of time to prevent something. We should be talking about, they want to provide all this free money for people to sit on the couch and eat Oreo cookies and not go to work. How about saying instead of that, we're going to provide a free gym membership, or you need help in nutrition, let's get you, a credit towards seeing a nutritionist to understand the value of that we all diet. It's just whether we have a good diet or a bad diet. Those are the things that are frustrating in the health and wellness industry that we don't understand that people are not chatting about. I mean, certainly that's what we've been chatting about for 2 years. And we say that with accountability of our own weight journeys, of our own health journeys. We're always pretty transparent on what we're going through, because that is relatable to people. Is getting healthy easy? No, it's not. But the point is taking that first step. And I think that's the part of this whole scenario of the last 2 years that has been frustrating, that is frightening, and that has really done a disservice to people, because they're giving a propaganda statement as to what to do, but they're not talking about preventative therapeutic measures that should not be done just because of this virus, that really should be done for your overall health and wellness. The other key piece, and the frequent argument I hear from people, is anyone that is overweight, which we already know that overweight is one of the major comorbidities of this virus. And everyone that I know that is overweight, except for maybe a few, are very accountable. Others are like, oh, my numbers are fine, there's nothing wrong. That's not what we're saying, because your numbers could be currently fine. But sadly, when you get the virus or a cold or a flu or anything in that nature, and it becomes more detrimental to an overweight person, because their body has to fight harder to combat and fight the virus. Their organs are put through a lot more strain and stress than someone who's already being proactive in health and wellness. And that is the key piece that we've been drilling. And one that I'm really proud that we have not changed our stance on it, because it's true. We shouldn't just be talking about health and wellness because there was a pandemic. We should be talking about health and wellness because we care about our bodies, that we want to live the best version of ourselves, that we want to make sure and understand from following the science that our bodies cannot get enough nutrition to scientifically make our fine bodies, which are fine machines, run properly with food alone. You don't receive enough of the nutrients that your body needs. So you need to have supplementation. You want to make sure you have good supplementation, because everything that's out there on the market, not so good, not so healthy. And we've done that. We've done the research. So we can say that verbatim, that there is a different qualities. Obviously, we talk about the 3 steps because it is a premium grade. Is it a little bit more expensive? Yeah, but I want the quality of the ingredients. I want to know that they're not putting in fillers. I want to know there's no junk in them. And I want to know that when I'm taking a supplementation to assist in my health and wellness, that my body's actually going to absorb it. A lot of the things that are over the counter do not. You pee them, you're naturally going to pee out a certain amount anyways, and your body's going to get rid of it. But you want to at least absorb as much of it as you can. And sadly, what's over the counter does not. But I think that's probably the biggest issue I have, is that we don't talk enough about therapeutics and living a healthy lifestyle, period. That's what we should be doing.
Right, exactly. And, for those of you who do take over the counter, we're not saying don't take them, but what we are saying is logically educate yourself to look at them, because all of our bodies are different. And I will frequently take a break from what I am currently doing just to kind of reset my body. And I do from time to time will take a good quality multivitamin, excuse me, in pill form. But what people have to realize is, yes, you're going to pee a lot of it out, but your body takes a lot of time to break it down. That's normal with anybody. Like me, it might be quicker than Carol Sue or vice versa. It doesn't matter. But your body takes time to break that pill down so that it absorbs in your gut to kind of distribute throughout your body. Whereas taking a vitamin that's in a granulated form that is mixed with either water or I do mine with a little bit of almond milk, is going to get into your bloodstream a lot quicker. So yeah, why wouldn't you want to feel good why wouldn't you want to feel your vitamins is basically what I'm trying to say.
Right. And again, don't you think so? With talking about directly talking about this particular virus, that they have done a disservice because they're not talking about the therapeutics. Some of the things that were talked about early on from a pharmaceutical perspective, hydrochloroquine, there are things out there that are beneficial, that are therapeutics that they dismissed, and now they know that they actually do work, but they're still not talking about them. They're also not talking about zinc. They're not talking about quercetin. They're not talking about turmeric. And a lot of people pronounce those differently, by the way. Doesn't matter. Those things are all great therapeutics that naturally, not just for this particular virus, but will assist with cold, flu, overall health and wellness. There's multi-benefits to a lot of different supplements that we take. And I think people have to understand. And how about the money that's been made on hand sanitizer? I frequently do not use hand sanitizer because in the beginning when I was using a lot, dried my hands up. Then I tried a more organic one, which felt a little bit better. But I thought, what am I doing? I mean, yeah, it's good for an emergency or where there's no soap and water available. But go back to the basics. Our country survived on good old fashioned ivory soap and, hot water. We were always told, wash your hands, after the bathroom, wash your hands before your meal. Don't ever touch your face before you wash your hands. You go to the store, you're touching, germs, and our body needs germs because that's how we build immunity to them. But wash your hands. So I think, there's a lot of push in a lot of different directions, and a lot of people financially benefited off of that. And, for that piece to it, naturally, they're a corporation. We live in a free society, entrepreneurs, all of that. So I'm not against making money. Definitely not against making money, because we know the more money you make, the more that you can impact, and hopefully people are impacting in a positive way. But so going back to what the day is, Fantabulous Friday, we've had a crazy week, different time zones. I'm still trying to figure out, what time it is and where I am. February is what I've called ream sweeps, meaning that we are all over the place. You never know where we're going to be, where we're going to be staying. We did a four in succession 4 stays at the Marriott. Now we've diverted to another chain, and then we'll go back to, and we'll end our trip with Marriott. Obviously, I'll take our hotel in chain. So we, I called it because everyone's, February 14th is, Valentine's Day. Well, we're just calling this Ream Sweets Month because we're just traveling all over. John hasn't done as much traveling as I have, but it's just been one of those months. Typically speaking, February is a big month for me to travel. I had a couple speaking engagements, a couple different things that I was a part of that I had to be out, as well as visiting people and, spending good quality time with family. And I love traveling. So it never gets old to me. I always love, you never know who you're going to meet. And I think part of Fantabulous Friday is always trying to make sure that you're open-minded enough to chat with different people. I'm in a great spot where I'm, talking to a lot of people internationally, and it's wonderful to hear people's stories, people's journeys, especially through the last few years. It's amazing how so many people really try to put their best foot forward and think positive and find the blessings. And that is what Fantabulous Friday is really about, patting yourself on the back that you did a good job this week. Maybe you had a hectic week. Maybe you were like Jan and I and just traveling and not really sure which city we're in at any given moment. And you may have had to re-navigate, renegotiate, whether it had to do with weather, whether it had to do with plane rides, whether it had to do with derailments of time, and you still made it through. And this is a day for you to celebrate you, all that you accomplished. And it doesn't have to be these big monumental things, guys. We always talk about that. The small little things are stepping stones that are going to get you to those bigger goals and dreams. Don't you think so, Jan?
Absolutely. And I just want to share one big goal that I accomplished this week. Philly, pretty much everything is street parking. And let's face it, I suck at parallel parking, but damn, I was good this week. Even my son was impressed. So, hey, that's something to celebrate because I'm more comfortable with it. Whereas before I was like, just that thought of parallel parking. Obviously I prefer just, sliding in, but those, and that may seem silly, like, oh, okay, you're celebrating that. Yeah, it doesn't matter how silly it is. It doesn't matter if it's kooky or whatever it is. Celebrate what you've accomplished, whether it's big, small, whatever it is. And on that note, I just want to say prayers to Ukraine. We all know there's a lot going on with that. And prayers to the truckers who are convoying down to Washington, D.C. I think it's when about the time when they arrive is when the State of the Union will be going on. So just know that what you have in your heart is worth fighting for. And on that note, I don't know if you want to say something in furtherance to that.
Well, I do. I haven't, because I have not been watching the news. The only thing that I want to say regarding Ukraine, they have responsibility as well. As to some of the things that are going on. And for me personally, my opinion is that whole segment between those two countries is a sidebar as to what is going on in the West. Canada has fallen, people. Canada has fallen. And regarding what is going to be going on in the US of A, this is not just about mandates. I actually did a long post about this a couple of days ago. This is about freedoms and all avenues of that. It is about turning. It is about making sure that our Constitution is not changed or not cherished, that it should be respected. It's about dereliction of duty to our country, what is done to our citizens. So I want to have people keep in mind that while the original convoy was really about changing the mandates of what was going on in Canada, Canada has fallen, and my hearts and prayers actually go to Canada and to their citizens of what they are suffering. NATO, everything that's going on with those other two countries could have easily been avoided. They both have got issues, and it's about time that people focus on what's going on at the West, because I do believe a lot of what's going on elsewhere is a distraction. And we need to start really paying close attention to what is going on in our own country, in our own backyard. But what I was going to ask you is, I didn't even know what that date is, because I do not watch the person occupying the White House. What date is that?
I don't know the exact date, but it's coming up. I want to say it's the first or second week of March. And I believe it's usually on a Tuesday.
Okay, so that would make sense, because I did hear some truckers have already come through, because obviously they're coming in from all different areas. And I know in this particular week, and hopefully it went well, there was a church in Worcester, Massachusetts that was collecting donations for them. So I hope, what I think is, when I say Canada has fallen, when you have a fascist dictator occupying the country the way that what's going on there. And if you is so far as, offered, and how sad this is, and this is the epitome of it all. How sad is it that a coffee owner offers a coffee to a peaceful demonstrator, and now not only is his livelihood, his business assets are frozen, his personal assets are frozen, all because they dare to offer a cup of coffee to a peaceful protester. If people do not understand that that's turning and that Canada has fallen, think again. And don't think twice that some of that shista could not happen in our own backyard. We have to be diligent and be mindful as to what is going on. And don't get distracted by outside distractions that they want you to focus on. Because sadly, when they do that, that is done purposely and with purpose to keep you unaware of what's going on in your own backyard. And we have to make sure and be mindful of that.
And on that note, we wish you, we always welcome viewpoints, even if they're opposing, where we are totally open to that. So go to our website, leave us a voicemail, www.TwoSistas.online. And on that note, my name is Janice, AKA Wellness Diva 5.0 with two
Sisters, and this is Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Bus, live from an undisclosed location. And we want to wish you a great week. Be mindful of some things that we chatted about, but also do things with kindness. Do not get frazzled when someone is not kind to you. Embrace them and understand that, you know, maybe they're having a rough day, but always put your best foot forward, because remember, you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you respond in the action that you take. And with that note, we will see you for, let's see, Monday, where will it be? I don't know. We're going to have to figure that schedule out, but we will definitely be in touch and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.